Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's July 20th, 2025. This is a brief intro and I guess a closing to today's video. So today, before lunch, I came down here. I'm down by the large beaver pond. And by the way, when me coming down here, you can't see with this camera at all, but I can now see that our swans have two babies out there. They do a really good job. They get right into the thrush and the marshland, a lot of the growth out there in the pond, and they can be hidden. But I did put binoculars indoors here so that I could go out and take a quick look if I saw them, and I could see two babies. There could be another one, but I saw two babies, so that was pretty cool. So in today's video, we're coming down here, and you may remember that I've been piling up lots and lots of the trees from well, last fall I started putting a whole bunch of trees in here that were dead trees, piling them up. This spring, all the trees that came down in the various storms and all, I piled those there. The trees that were around pond 4 that I dug out, they were all piled up all along in here. I had some a bed frame and a couple of cabinets, all wood with hinges and handles. That's about it. And I had those piled here. And then recently, with all the pruning I had done in the first food forest, I took all of those limbs and all piled them up here. So I had enough stuff that was getting in the way, and I decided to do a Hugelkultur mound, a Hugelkultur pit down here. So I dug a pit here. Last year I dug a pit over there and buried the wood, covered it up. And Hugelkultur is just and I'll explain this in the video, is just an Austrian term for mounting up woody debris and then covering it with soil, and it's used as a growth. You can grow your food in that, so all your different vegetables and all. So I did that for a while. Some of my old videos showed those techniques and all, but I ended up switching to Hugelkultur pits, which really isn't mounded dirt. I dig a pit with the excavator, and then I take all that woody material, put it into the ground. It gradually breaks down, turn into beautiful, rich soil in the future. And I have multiple places around the property that we've been doing that. And it keeps the wood from going directly right up into the atmosphere. It acts as a water holding. It has a high water holding capacity. It's a carbon sequestration. So I think of it as being a pretty good system. And so that's what I did here, and you'll see me come down with Elon the Excavator and do this. Not the most ideal camera setup that I had. And I also talk a little bit about, right now, I'm fatigued after the last couple of days of the activities that I've been doing, pushing it pretty hard, especially in the heat. And I talk a little bit about post-exercise malaise, where you feel foggy, drained, fatigued, and some of the things that we're doing for this to combat Thea's osteoporosis and all the fractures that she had, some of the supplements, and some of those things that, oh, you can see the deer running over here. Oh, it's a young buck. I startled him down here. And some of the things we can do, but exercise is a big key component to increasing the number of mitochondria, the powerhouses in our cells. As we get older, we lose a lot of our mitochondria, and the mitochondria that we do have become dysfunctional. We have damage to our DNA, we have oxidative injuries, our immune systems aren't quite as well. So with being armed with all that knowledge, what we're doing is we're taking steps to combat that. And that means some supplements as well as exercise as well. So I talk a little bit about that in the video. And then the video will just sort of end abruptly when I'm starting to cover this area up. Okay, so that'll be it for today's video, folks. I gotta go and plant some, transplant some of the plants. I got some trumpet vines to transplant and a hardy kiwi. We're going to put that down by the new pond and see how that goes. And then I've got some work to clean up around the first food forest and around pond 4, those things. These won't be in the video, but I'm going to take it easy today and make it somewhat of a light day. So appreciate you folks watching, appreciate your watching the videos and giving comments and giving us thumbs up. It really helps out an awful lot. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye now. Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's July 20th, 2025. 5 months ago today, the workshop collapsed. It's one of those days where you just think about all the things, you know, that you haven't gotten done, and also some of the things that you were able to accomplish since that point. So the workshop isn't up at all yet, but the site is cleaned, and we've got the shipping containers, got the pad here, got most of the stuff, all the stuff that was in the shop is out of it. Yeah, it's still packed full of the other buildings and all, where I'm still working with things, but it's just one of those things. We're going to do our very best every day, and just keep plugging away, I guess. So this morning I woke up. Actually, I slept in. I slept till like 5:20 or something like that. And yesterday when I woke up, I woke up, at 4 something, and which is sleeping in for me. And I was whooped. And yesterday, I don't know if you watched the video yesterday, we got the garlic out of the garden beds in the central bed, in the central garden plot, and got it into the sugar shack. Thea had already gotten the Dutch red shallots in, and on the hardware cloth for curing. And I had been working for a few days doing some heavy duty pruning really, that is, well, I've neglected pruning for the last couple of years, and was planning on going for it this year. And of course, I've had to go for other things this year so far. Navigating between the trees here. We're going down to the big beaver pond. I'll tell you about that in a second. But so this whole event with the building collapse has changed all our plans and agendas that we've had. And there's times where I just feel, I guess, somewhat overwhelmed, very frustrated, and just having to deal with it, as well as the other things that you have in life that just have to get taken care of and all. And of course, lots of things that should be taken care of, they aren't a priority, so they get to be put back on the list of things to do. So there's a whole bunch of things I got to do in the house, things I got to fix and all. The Harbor Freight roof also collapsed. That's our little mini greenhouse. That collapsed at that time on February 20th, but not dealing with that. And the gardens, as you've seen, have really, well, they've been neglected. They've been left wide open for the wildlife. I never got the mulch on them, so the weeds have taken over. And, well, as you can see in our garden updates and all, how things have actually worked out. And, I really can't complain about that because, given all the circumstances and all, and it's not like we're not putting forth our best effort. Both of us are working our tails off. But, yeah, it's just how things happen. And got a dead limb here. I got some more pruning to do. Oh my God, have I got a lot of pruning to do. So anyways, so I woke up this morning feeling like somebody had beat me up to the point where I was absolutely exhausted and just starting to feel a little recovered after like a hour of rest, and they went right ahead and kicked my butt again. That's how I feel this morning. So a general malaise, brain fog, referred to as PEM, post-exertional malaise. And have I had this experience before in my life? Sure, when I really burnt the candle at both ends and all. But it's happening now without me, running a marathon. Like we used to work 12-hour shifts. This is many years ago. 12-hour shifts. We'd come home. Before the shift, we'd go ahead and take care of the horses, take care of the horse business that we were running, take care of our family, our kids, and do building our home, or building a workshop, or building a garage and all. And we did that for many, many years. And then when we ran the wildlife center, we still worked 12 hours a day to generate the income to take care of the wildlife and to take care of ourselves and all. And I'd feel that malaise every once in a while when I really overdid it. But now it's happening just with some of the things you see me doing now. And this post-exertional malaise, brain fog, can be associated with chronic fatigue syndrome. It can be associated with a whole bunch of things. But as we get older, it ends up being a pretty significant factor as a result of our mitochondria, the powerhouses in our cells. I gotta focus on what I'm doing here so I don't tip Elon the Excavator over. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do here in a second, but so it's, as we get older, it's so important to recognize that we got to take care of our powerhouse in all of our cells of our body. That's the mitochondria. And if we don't do that, we're going to suffer the consequences. Just trying to see where I'm at here as far as, so this is, I'm riding on top of last year's wood and pruning and all right there in front of us now. And that's a Hugelkultur pit down in there. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and dig a hole here. Let me just go ahead and get myself positioned somewhat to move a couple of things now that I see. Yeah, it's soft down in here. So I got a log right here. I got a stump down in here too. Sorry, my talks are often disjointed somewhat. Because I got to focus on what I'm doing. A couple more little logs right here. Okay. And I want to be careful. Let's go over here. Yep. Don't. It's all swampy right in here. I got that multi-flora rose right here, right around this tree. Looks like I got another stump to a tree right here that yeah, multi-flora rose. I hate those things. Oh, I see, that's a big log right there. Well, that'll be okay where that one is. Let me... Yeah, I gotta focus on what I'm doing here. Sorry, folks. I'll get back to chatting about our mitochondria in all in a moment. Come on, old man. Focus on what you're doing. Okay. So these woody products here, I'm going to put right in the ground here. I think, do I have another stump right there? Yeah, small stump. Small stump. All right, let's see what we got here. It's a pretty good size one here. Just sinking right down in here. It's that log, I see. All right, so let's set that there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. So I'm going to have to make this little pit here a little bit elongated. This Hugelkultur pit. So what is Hugelkultur? I'll talk about that for a moment. Hugelkultur, an Austrian technique where woody materials, logs and branches and sticks and all, are piled up on the surface of the ground and then covered with soil. So it's a mounded technique. Oh, pay attention here, Kev. Swing up over that puppy. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking to myself again. All right. Let's see. Trying to decide how I'm going to approach this now. So that maple right ahead of us is alive and viable, so I don't want to damage the roots there. Let's see if I get in this position, how this will be. Man, I'm just sinking right down in here. So, Hugelkultur is just a growing technique of taking woody material and where do I want to put this right now? I think I'll put this right here for right now. This decent sediment that's down in here. Then we'll get down to some sandy stuff here after that. Again, give myself a little bit of room for the roots there. Don't want to do too much damage. Okay, let's start setting some soil over here, I guess. So, this technique works extremely well, but I'm not doing Hugelkultur. I call this Hugelkultur pits. Is what I'm doing is I'm digging big holes in the ground and burying lots of woody material. So right alongside of us right here, this is a large pile of all those prunings that I've been doing recently from the food forest, and from there's trees from around the pond that I dug recently. So what I'm doing here is just taking all that rich carbon soil. What I'm doing is trying to create more rich carbon soil. And I can by digging a big hole, putting all that woody material in the ground, it's going to gradually break down and turn into beautiful soil in the future. So if I need to later on, I can always come back here and dig that material up. I have to be a little careful here because one half of the machine is sinking in here a little bit. See all this sediment that's been coming down. So we're at the base of a pretty significant hilly region on both sides, but we're on the new property right now. And all that material, the leaf litter, the woody material that breaks down on the surface of the soil during the big rains, well, that all comes down here. I'll back up in just a minute as soon as I get some of this dug out and all. So that's what I'm doing right now over here, and that's the upper beaver pond straight in front of us here. And I'm shaking all over the place because of the extent of the sinking in here. Because I'm unbalanced right now. So just starting off digging a little bit of a trench here. It'll have to be elongated some. I'm going to tip right over. I have to keep taking these big scoops here. So I got my blade sunk in as far as I should possibly get it sunk in right now. And you take this moist, wet soil, and when I reach the boom out, well, just tips the whole machine here. So we'll use this soil to cover things right up again after we get all of this material in the ground. And we'll be able to go right out on this spot next time we come down here to dig more. So I'm keeping an eye out for the roots of that maple there. Maple trees, they send out their roots not like a deep taproot like a oak tree or your nut trees. They have more of a mushroom bulging out of their roots. So I'm just always mindful of the trees that I'm trying to save and how close I get to the root structures. And I'm really wobbling quite a bit here. Oh well. So back to post-exertional malaise as a result of the dysfunction and the loss of our mitochondria as we get older. So one of the things, probably one of the most important things we can do to decrease the frequency and severity of this post-exertional malaise that I'm experiencing today, man, come on baby, let's move. That's a little better now. Let's see what we can do here. Exercise. So a really good researcher and person that shares a great deal of information on her YouTube channel, Found My Fitness, and she is she has a great podcast and YouTube channel, and she interviews experts in various health-related fields. Definitely worth going, and if this topic interests you. Now, I don't think she's covered she might have post-exertional malaise, but she certainly has covered exercise, physiology, its role in our mitochondria, our DNA, a whole variety of these topics. And she does a great job, and she brings in prominent researchers to discuss these topics, and talks about nutritional supplementation, exercise, the role that it plays, how it can be beneficial, all sorts of amazing topics like that. So the water working its way down in here. It's going to take a while for this puppy to dry out. Well, it won't dry out, for the ground to firm up. So exercise. So yesterday, the last couple of days, me working out there, even just doing the garlic, something as simple as digging up the garlic, or going out there and wrestling with some of the limbs, and they're pretty good sized limbs that I was pruning off of the trees. And just those things alone got my heart rate up. And I have a watch, I have a Garmin watch, where I can keep, it's not precise, but it gets you in the ballpark of where your heart rate actually is when you're doing things. And I'm jumping around here, sorry about that. So monitoring your heart rate during exercise I'd say is pretty important. So what's an important formula or equation that everybody should be aware of who wants to acquire or maintain optimal cardiovascular health? Well, one formula is I think it's called maximal exertional heart rate. I think it's MER. I'm probably wrong with that. So basically that's taking 220 and subtracting your age from it. So I'm 68, so 220 minus 68, what's that, 152? And that's really what people would consider the maximal heart rate that you should go, that you should be aware of. So getting up to that heart rate really is a concern. Now we're getting down into some of the sandy material down in here. Lots and lots of sand down here in this lower part of the property. So we don't want to go above, I don't want to go above 152 though. You know, you just take the 220 minus your age, and that gives you what your heart rate, your maximum heart rate should be. So then we want to take a fraction of that maximal heart rate when we're exerting ourselves. So there's all different papers on this, but like 75 to 80% of that, for me, 152, would be a really good maximal heart rate for me to achieve for short periods of time. Not prolonged, but for relatively short periods of time. So again, it's your 220 minus your age. You don't want to achieve that number, but you could take something like 50 to 75% for those times that you're doing a cardio workout. You know, could be running, could be jogging, could be doing like me, picking up the garlic from the garlic bed, or digging up the garlic bed and all, where I'm aware of my heart rate. I can feel it beating in my chest. I feel fatigue. I'm sweating like a bandit. those are all, you can at least have a number that can help you. Then after that, you need to try and recover as well. So what's the reason for this? As well, I want to stimulate a few things to happen. I want my body to start calling for more mitochondria, new mitochondria in my cells to be reestablished, to grow and to develop. Because those are our powerhouses. They're what produces the ATP. And that ATP, as we get older, or mitochondria, we have less and less of it as time goes on. Let me just take a bigger scoop out of this spot here for a minute, so the water can go down into this spot instead of going into the other spots. It's already working its way into the other spots, but make a pocket for our water to sit in there. And I'll put it right next to the edge here so that water can work back down into that spot. Okay. So you can see just how deep the sediment down in here has created a couple foot, 2.5 foot of deep, rich, 2.5 feet deep of rich sediment, like muck. That's sitting on top of the sand down in here. Again, I'm jumping around with what I'm discussing. I'm going to push the top of this pile back a little bit. So anyways, so exercise. So we want to do a good cardio workout where our heart rate is getting to, for me, I don't know, 75-80% of the 152. And with my watch, I can see what my heart rate is doing. Now, I'm not paying attention to it at the moment. I'm getting better at saying, oh, I think I'm there, and just stopping for a minute or two, let my heart rate come down a little bit, and then going right back at it, exerting myself again. And that really does help out. Now we also have to do, besides the cardiac workout, we want to build more muscle as well. And I've lost a lot of muscle over the years. Bone, fat, and skin is sort of what I feel like I'm at now, where, you know, even in my 50s, I felt very powerful. I could definitely lift so much more than what I can do now. So, diet, lots of phytonutrients, really important. And I'm starting to take some supplements that I hadn't taken before, and I'm adding the supplements one by one. You know, certainly we want to. Now, Thea and I are both whole food, plant-based, and certainly I understand not everybody wants to be plant-based. There's a whole movement for carnivore diet, and that's fine. I think that's a decent, healthy environment as well, diet as well, potentially. You know, if it's done well, if cutting out processed foods is so important. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy Bobby Kennedy is in the position he's in now, is because cutting out processed foods, some of the things that are so toxic to us, you know, like the various dyes, and certainly the over-processing. So we have all this artificial crap that's in the standard American diet. Well, if you can eliminate that, that's awesome. We just happen to be whole food, plant-based. And if you can get whole food and not be plant-based, that's fine, but I'd still say lots and lots of plants with all those phytonutrients is really important. So anyways, all right, where am I down in here? Trying to make this pit that I'm digging long enough. The water's just filling in that spot. Long enough that I can fit this one tree trunk down in there. But we'll make it work. Somehow, some way, we will accomplish it. It wasn't until recent years, once I got Elon, that I realized that we do have sand on this property. There's all rock up where the house is and where the gardens are. Coarse, bony gravel. Push a little more away. So anyways, so I'm taking some magnesium now, Thea and I both are, and we're taking some creatine. I think both of these will really help with Thea's osteoporosis. It seems to be, well, she's doing much better lately, but once you have osteoporosis to the extent that Thea has it, it's very concerning. And certainly, me recognizing the extent of my decreased function of my mitochondria, that's very concerning to me. It affects our immune system significantly, and we're just much more susceptible to oxidative injury. And so another thing that I'm taking is a glutathione precursor. And so in my profession before internal medicine and critical care in veterinary medicine, a big part of my residency, or my you have to publish when you're becoming board certified and all. So a lot of my research was on glutathione. And glutathione is this amazing molecule that I've talked about many times in many videos, and it provides so many functions in the body. And back when I was practicing in veterinary medicine, we had an approved glutathione precursor, and that's one of the reasons why I've talked about like broccoli sprouts or microgreens, you know, the broccoli and or all the benefits of the cruciferous vegetables and all. And we may not be able to grow the same amount of food that we've been able to grow for years now, and as we're getting older. And events like this happen with the building collapsing. So I'm turning to some supplements because we're buying some of our food right now. Didn't anticipate that this would happen, but we're doing that. So, but we're being very mindful of what the food we're actually buying is and the quality of the food. Okay here. Alright, I think I'm still a bit too long here for that one log, but I'm getting close to the point where I want to start filling this in some. So this hole in front of us is the main hole that I want to take all that material that we've piled up there and get it in. Yeah, I gotta be careful here. I'm on an angle. A little more over there. Of course, I'm hitting into another tree stump over here. All right, I'm not going to do that. It's too dangerous right there. Oh, shoot. Now I've opened up a waterway in there. Okay, let's see. Good Lord Almighty. We'll see what we can do here. It's going to start pouring right in there now. I wanted to avoid this, but it is what it is. That's good. Broke in half that time. Yeah, that water's just coming right in there now. Trying to get some of these larger stumps into the hole so that I can fit around them. We're only going to be just so successful with this. Getting a little more rain now. All right, let's go over there. Don't want to get too tilted here, but I would like to get over here so I can grab a hold of some of this stuff. Be real careful when I'm doing this because we can knock other tree. Jesus. Alright, so we got to back up some here because we got a tree that's leaning here. Got some. That's right, I dropped some of those cabinets and wood down in here as well. Let's get this bugger here. When it's all intertwined like this, it potentially is a disaster waiting to happen. Push some stuff around over in here, and then I'll get to those woody material over there. Of course, I think the camera that I set up over there is probably a terrible spot now that I'm looking at it. I think it just sees a big pile of dirt. Now, I'm going to reposition that camera. And it's getting warm in here. So it's warm and muggy, but not really hot. All right, that's just going to reposition myself here a little bit. These are all some of the woody material that I brought down with the grain machine. So gotta watch my dead ash trees right around in here. Back up. If I try grabbing these and swinging it around, I'm going to hit the other trees. Come on, baby. Get up there. Boards down in there that are There's some OSB and some parts to our beds that I had stored in the workshop that all got destroyed. So woody material, even if it's finished woody material, and if it's got hinges, it's okay. There's a couple of cabinets that have hinges on them. But the wood I don't mind, with a little metal on them, putting those down into the Hugelkultur pits. Pay attention, Kevin. Gotta be real careful with that ash tree right there.